Students will now attend lessons during the weekend in the auditorium to replace hours lost by protests. The High Council of Prosecution cannot take disciplinary measures against prosecutors, while the majority says these issues are to be resolved in the Council of Legislation. The chair of the Democratic Party, Basha, called upon citizens to unite on Saturday in Tirana to remove Edi Rama's government from power. Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Wednesday, the 13th of February, 2019. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Oliver, and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country, translated into English. Well, we begin tonight with the ongoing student protest. The Faculty of History and Philology is now the only building with continuous protests, despite the continuation of lessons. Students say they will remain in the auditorium over the weekend until receiving the replacement of missed hours, while many point out that with the arrival of students in the faculty, it will be completely filled. Meanwhile, the Dean of the Faculty of History and Philology, Sabri Lachi, says the reduced fee payment will begin next week and students will have time until March to repay their obligation. Additionally, with the decision by the Council of Ministers, two new Deputy Education Ministers, Reddy Shtino and Lorena Hajiu, have now been appointed. Well, if you stop to add it up, the amount of money you spend on food is likely one of your biggest expenses. In the vegetable and fruit markets, prices have increased considerably. The most expensive produce are non-seasonal products such as peppers, tomatoes, and cucumbers. According to the Institute of Statistics, in a report analyzing vegetable prices, it is noted that this category has increased by 36% compared to the same period of the previous year. Experts explain that the price increase this January is a result of outside factors since the local production was quite limited during the season. Unlike other years where farm production in the country depends on atmospheric conditions, this year the output from fruit and vegetable production was reduced by farms themselves. Citizens say they find it difficult to afford the high prices, but traders state they are justified as the increase in prices is due to the lack of domestic production. And moving on to our next story, violations by prosecutors cannot result in punishment due to what many are calling a vacuum created by politics. Disciplinary measures against prosecutors are under competencies of the High Inspectorate of Justice, even though it has yet been established. The majority accepts the deadlock, but we learned that a new solution can come from the Legislative Council. Socialists advise that until the establishment of the High Inspectorate of Justice, the institutions should report flagrancy cases to the vetting authorities. According to Vasilika Hysi, there will be disciplinary measures for the judges by the Inspectorate of the High Council of Justice, unlike the situation with prosecutors. Hysi says the competencies of this institution will still be enforced just until the establishment of the High Inspectorate of Justice. Now on to the former Constitutional Court member, Ghani Dizdari, who lost his battle today to remain in the system. The appeal chamber decided to put into effect the Independent Qualification Commission's decision to remove him from the system after a hearing held in the counseling chamber. As a result of the inexplicability of property on behalf of his daughter, Dizdari seems to have been penalized. Today in the appeal chamber, a hearing was held for the member of the High Prosecutorial Council, Aneta Sevdari. Prosecutor Sevdari presented herself to the appeal chamber after the public commissioner appealed the decision by the Independent Qualification Commission on her confirmation of duty. According to the complaint, the investigation for the prosecutor by the Independent Qualification Commission has not been completed. Through the appeal by the public commissioner, requests from the appeal chamber that these deficiencies in the administrative investigation conducted by the IQC can be corrected during a reviewing of the case. The prosecutor has declared a 4-story house with land comprising an area of 1,400 square meters, while explaining that the source of her wealth comes from her husband and the savings he earned after emigrating. The public commissioner estimates that the data is insufficient for her reconfirmation to duty due to the property tax problems and professional ability. Meanwhile, prosecutor Sevdari says that she disagrees with the public commissioner's data after the IQC investigation was completed. The tour continues today as the chair of the Democratic Party, losing Basha, continues his round of meetings with the citizens of Burrel. Today, he invited them to become part of the February 16th protest while issuing a warning that a movement of resistance will continue until Rama leaves the government. During the meetings, the chair of the Democratic Party stressed that Albanian families are getting poorer and poorer by the policies enacted under Rama's government, and also stressed that power cannot be in the hands of those who have stolen votes. During his speech before citizens, Basha demanded that nobody leave the protest until the government has completely collapsed, stating, "Thanks to your union, which will be the greatest witness of the Albanian people, a new European standard will be established. Every government that comes into power after the 16th of February should maintain a healthy rapport with the people." Just as you have gathered here today, you also gather in a great protest just a few days ago, all united to assemble in Tirana with justice of this popular cause in your hearts and with determination not to leave without disabling the corrupt system that is making you increasingly poorer and stealing from you each and every day. A new day is coming for each of you, and this is something that you merit. Your destiny is in your hands. Let's unite together on February 16th, stated Basha. The expansion of the Dimitar Sucherici road in the area of Comune Parisi has brought about another clash between residents and police forces. The intervention by police is considered unfair by property owners who say the demolition of their property is selective. They even point out that this is the second time their apartments are being demolished. Despite the resistance of residents, the Territorial Inspectorate has continued the project of the demolition of dwellings. The Albanian Road Authority and the Road Police have announced that starting tomorrow there will be a traffic deviation in the place on the Tirana-Qafqashar highway lasting 5 days. According to the Albanian Road Authority, the cause for this deviation is due to the continuation of construction work on 2 new potholes in the road segment and for the construction of an entrance and exit where potholes pose problems for drivers. The police and Arsh stated, for this reason, during the execution of this construction work, there will be a deviation of traffic along the 6th kilometer in the direction of Tirana-Durrës and in the 7th kilometer in the direction of Durrës-Tirana. The traffic on these segments will circulate in one pass. Also, Arsh and the police report that the Tirana-Kamas road segment just beyond the overpass will be repaired due to the damaged asphalt. The constructions on this road segment will last 3 days from February 14th to February 17th, and the Traffic Circuit Police have developed an operational intervention plan to avoid traffic jams and to ensure continuous work on the terrain. The Albanian Road Authority and the Tirana Circuit Police have requested cooperation from drivers during the course of the intervention and urged drivers to respect the established provisional signaling and roadside police guidelines. And finally tonight, the chair of the Democratic Party, Ervin Salinani, has again appeared in the prosecution of serious crimes. For about 30 minutes, he was held in the prosecution headquarters, where he had to explain the allegations of corruption against senior officials. He stated, "I did have communication with the prosecution on an issue I've denounced. Because of the investigative secret, I must leave this discussion. I have had many issues with the government. Today was just another one of them." Sources say that Saliani provided details of the files surrounding his accusation and other information he possesses before the prosecution. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join me again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Aura News, thank you and have a great night.